Greetings, I am Sarah, wife of Abraham, and today I want to share with you my journey, a journey marked by faith, trials, and the unwavering promise of God. I was born Sarai, the daughter of Terah. My husband was Abram, also a child of Terah, making us half-siblings by our father. Terah, our father, was a significant figure in our lives, originally from Ur of the Chaldeans. He was an idol maker, a man with many gods, but despite this, Abram was called by the one true God. My mother, whose name has been lost to time, supported our family and raised us in a household of many beliefs, yet it was Abram's faith that shone through. Abram and I were deeply in love, bound together not just by marital vows but by a profound sense of purpose that we both felt was destined for us. Abram was a man of great faith and righteousness, and together we sought to live lives that were pleasing to the one true God.
Our lives took a dramatic turn when God spoke to Abram. The Lord called us to leave our homeland and journey to a land he would show us. It was a daunting task, but we obeyed without hesitation. God's promises were clear. He would make Abram a great nation, bless him, and make his name great. We set forth with faith as our compass, leaving behind everything familiar. As the years passed, our longing for a child grew stronger. Despite our unwavering faith, we remained childless. In those times, a woman's worth was often tied to her ability to bear children, and my barrenness weighed heavily on my heart. Yet, God promised Abram descendants as numerous as the stars. This promise gave us hope, but as time went on, doubt began to creep in. In our household was Hagar, my maidservant. She was an Egyptian, given to us during our sojourn in Egypt. Hagar was young and capable, a constant presence in our daily lives. As the years went by without children, I began to consider a custom of our time, a way to build a family through a surrogate. In my despair and desire to fulfill God's promise, I made a fateful decision. I offered Hagar to Abram as a wife. It was a common practice of the time, a way to ensure lineage through a surrogate. I thought that perhaps this was how God intended to fulfill his promise. Hagar conceived, and for a moment I felt a glimmer of hope. But things did not go as planned. Hagar's attitude changed, and she began to look down on me. This led to tension and strife within our household. I felt humiliated and powerless, and in my frustration I confronted Abram. He told me to deal with Hagar as I saw fit. My actions were harsh, and Hagar fled into the wilderness. God, in his mercy, sent an angel to Hagar, guiding her back to us and assuring her that her son, Ishmael, would also be blessed. Hagar returned and bore Abram a son, Ishmael. While he was not the child of promise, Ishmael was still a blessing. One hot day, as Abraham sat at the entrance of our tent, he saw 3 visitors standing nearby. He ran to greet them and offered our hospitality, urging them to rest and refresh themselves. These visitors were no ordinary men, they were divine messengers. Abraham prepared a feast, and as they ate, they asked for me. As I listened from the entrance of the tent, one of the visitors declared that I would have a son by this time next year. I laughed to myself, thinking, after I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure? The Lord heard my laughter and asked Abraham why I laughed, assuring us that nothing was too hard for the Lord. It was then I realized that these visitors were messengers of God, reaffirming his promise. Years later, when all hope seemed lost, God appeared to Abram again, changing our names to Abraham and Sarah, signifying a new covenant. He reiterated his promise, declaring that I would bear a son. At 90 years old, I laughed at the thought, but God's words came true. I gave birth to Isaac, the child of promise. However, the joy was short-lived. As Isaac grew, tensions between him and Ishmael became apparent. Fearing for Isaac's future and driven by maternal instincts, I insisted that Abraham send Hagar and Ishmael away. It was a heart-wrenching decision. But God assured Abraham that Ishmael would be taken care of and become a great nation.
My journey was filled with trials and moments of doubt, but through it all, God's faithfulness never wavered. His promises were fulfilled in his time, not mine. I learned that faith often requires patience and trust beyond human understanding. Isaac became the joy of our old age, and through him, God's covenant continued. My story is a testament to the complexity of faith and the enduring promises of our Creator. By faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was enabled to bear children because she considered him faithful, who had made the promise, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 11.